Looks like we're recording now. Hey, everybody. So let me do a retake now. So if you were watching live, anyway, we're going to do a retake. So it's Friday. It's Financial Friday, and I have my good friend, Mr. Michael Zuber. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing very well, Ty. Thank you. I look forward to doing this every week.
Likewise. Wait, hold on. I got something. Wait for it.
Okay.
You like
You got
it?
the hat. I do. I do.
Oh,
Look at that.
yeah.
Wow.
One, baby. One.
Just one at a time.
Just one at a time. I'll have to tell you offline. I just got a seller finance deal, which is beautiful. But hey,
Awesome.
one at a time, right? So
love
anyway,
the hat.
So
Thank
how you feeling?
I'm doing good. First and foremost, I want to thank you and Adrian for giving me a chance to attend UPW last week. It was quite the event. Tony Robbins is he exceeded my expectations. I've listened to Tony for a decade, and to see him live was special. So you allowed me to check off one of my bucket list items. So much appreciated.
I love it. I love it. When they go to live events too, we're going to definitely get you to come with us and do the actual inside the San Jose arena and jumping around at where the Sharks play there. I think, was it HP?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? HP?
Pavilion?
Yeah.
I think HP Pavilion, at least it was. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to get you there on the live. So hey, so
there we go.
A couple of things. I know we were talking offline before we got started. We were talking about interest rates. We were talking about the 10-year bond market. I know that seems to be a theme of something we're talking about. What are you seeing with the 10-year Treasury? What are you seeing with rates?
Well, there's a couple of things we need to appreciate. So first off, I'm going to celebrate a little bit, right? So January 1st, I said gun to head. There's one thing I had to track. It'd be the 10-year. 10-year was, I think was under 1% at the time. And just today it's bounced again over 1.6. And really it has been the single thing leading the market. We saw the 10-year retreat earlier in the week. The NASDAQ or tech stocks rebounded. The 10-year is up today quite substantially, up to 1.62, at least earlier. I haven't checked in the last hour or so, but it is sending shockwaves through the market. For the first time, other talking heads have said, you know what, the 10-year could be headed to 2%. And again, on our daily financial news, I've been talking about for months now, that 2% could be that threshold that really changes things. We could go from a tech dominant sort of Tesla, Amazon, Apple kind of, the top six win and everybody else loses, to a rotation where growth is reevaluated. The PEs come in, price to sales come in, and value takes off. So I think the great rotation is real. I think there's some folks out there that want to kind of go the other direction. I think that's a mistake. I think the world has changed. And then on interest rates, the other thing you have to realize, interest rates as investors. I've been doing this 20 years. And generally speaking, they've been on a 20-year decline, right? When I started 20 years ago, they were around 8%. Right, 2000, you go back and look it up. The 30-year average was 8.05%. That's very different than 2020, right? 2020 saw rates go under 2.5%. I think we've seen the bottom. I think we have an inflection point. And if you followed my story at all, one rental at a time, it's not about catching the top or bottom. It's about appreciating inflection points. And I think we have that with interest rates. I think we go through a 3, 4, 5 year of general uptick, right? I think the 30-year mortgage, which is what you and I get for most of our units, very quickly, it will not have a 3 on it. I think we will see investment loans with a 4 on it by the end of the year, which again, historically speaking, is 50% of where I started. But for other people, it'd be like, that's 50% higher than I'm used to. So it is going to cause changes. It is going to impact affordability. It is going to slow down appreciation in some markets. So we got to pay attention. I think the Fed can keep rates low this year, right? Operation Twist, I think, is coming. And it's going to be a battle. So you got to pay attention. The 10 years yanking the NASDAQ all over the place. 10 years down, NASDAQ's up. 10 years higher, NASDAQ's down. And we're seeing that happen again today.
Wow. Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you. That's obviously I know for a lot of the people in the audience that, you know, understanding and knowing that and be able to recognize those inflection points. So really, really spot on. I love it. So let's talk about just in general, like the stimulus. You know, there's been a lot of talk, a lot of headlines about stimulus. I don't quite understand it completely. I know there's also some job related numbers. I know you track unemployment claims and such. The vaccines are rolling out. Seems to be every week I'm talking to sellers that are now getting off the fence because they've just got their vaccines and now they're ready to, you know, move to Nevada or wherever they're going. So bring us up to speed on stimulus and jobs and what's going on there.
Yeah, the thing that I think I want people to realize is we've been in the last 12 to 14 months have been a dark period. I've talked about a tunnel. About 6 or 9 months ago, I said, you can see a speck of sunlight out there, but you're not sure what's going on. It's getting bigger and bigger. We're now at the tail end of the crisis, right? The sunshine, the springtime, we're leaving winter, going to spring, ultimately to summer. It's right around the corner. We have so much good news, like weeks away. It's really going to be a question, what does the consumer do? So what are these good things? First and foremost, we're going to have enough vaccines for every adult by the beginning of May. If you want it, you can get it and it's free, right? So that's going to be cool. We have stimulus coming. Stimulus is another check, right? A family of 4 could get over $5,000. We also have an extension of unemployment through the summer. I think we've finally put in that last mile. It's always been about the people. I think, you know, some of the past stimulus, it bailed out Wall Street, it bailed out, you know, other things. You know, I like to see what's in this one. It gets us to the end, and it will be that extra grease in the wheel to make sure that the economy gets going. I think the GDP for the world will be up like 6% this year. And I think the GDP for the US, which, oh, by the way, is still the largest economy, will go up even more than the average, which is, you know, it's hard to mathematically think about that, but I think it happens. So yeah, I see good things ahead. But again, what does that mean? Well, that means probably debt gets more expensive. We're going to see some companies that probably shouldn't have existed, but because they could finance at very low rates, they kind of like are zombies. I think some of that comes home. I think there's another stimulus out there for infrastructure. I think that just adds to the fuel. I talked about the roaring 20s probably for the first time 4 or 5 months ago. I think it's where we're going. I think 2021 through at least 2024, 25 is a good period. I don't know if it'll be a full decade like last time, but the next 3 to 5 years, I think will be pretty good. GDP will be up. Unemployment will be down, right? The U3 has never been this useless, saying 6.2, U6 is 11.3, I think. But that's going to come down. We created 256,000 jobs in February. We'll hopefully do 500 in March, and we'll just be chewing on that unemployment, because what we saw in February is hospitality and restaurants came back. And that was really before the vaccines took hold. That's really before California opened up. I mean, shoot, we're going to open Disneyland for the first time in a year. We're going to have sporting events with fans. It's just all coming. And that's going to lead to, what does the consumer do? I follow the consumer, number one. I just talked about this morning, Daily Financial News. The consumer's done 2 things in the last year that surprised me. That is not normal. One is we've increased our savings rate from about 8% to 20%. Second, we paid off credit card debt. I think it was to the tune of $80 billion we've paid off in the last year. Those are not, generally speaking, what Americans do. We spend, but we had nothing to do, right? So we saved and paid off debt. Come April, come May, come June, what are we going to do? I'm going to guess explosive rally. We're going to have inflation because of supply constraints. We're going to have, like you talked about, mom and pop who were wanting to move but nervous. They're going to start listing their homes. The move up buyer is going to be real. Dude, this economy is going to be on fire by the summer, and it's going to be something to watch.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It is unfolding. It is unfolding. Thank you for that. It's great too. You know what I really enjoy? I love being on the ride with you. That specifically, we've been talking about this, it feels like, for the last 3 or 4 or 5 months, and just kind of always in this conversation about consumer, interest rates, 10-year, and really giving our audience a lot of, depth in what's going on in the financial market. So this is exciting. This is really exciting. It actually gives me a different question, Michael, in that specifically, even if interest rates really get a little wild, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's not going to be a bubble, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but my thought is that even if interest rates really get wild and really spike and get a little bit out of control, we're probably just going to see the market normalize, right? We're going to see it maybe level off and maybe even a little bit more inventory, a little bit higher days on market. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah. So this one we really need to talk about because it's important. A lot of people are going, a market crash is coming, a market crash. Some people are still brave enough to say a crash is coming in 2021, which I think is just entirely wrong, but at least we can have the discussion. So let's define a crash. So let's just say the national average of homes has to fall greater than 20%. That's a crash, right? I don't see, there's only three things that can cause it. One is we could have supply, which today is usually weeks. We would have to have a supply go up 500 or 600%, right? You could have supply overwhelm demand, but it would have to be 500, 600, maybe 700 times our existing inventory. And historically speaking, that's not how inventory works. Mom and pop list here and there. They don't come in big waves. The only times you have big waves of inventory is when you have banks foreclosing, and we are not there, and we won't be there in 2021. Second, we could have interest rates explode higher, right? Let's just say interest rates today are at 3%. If they slowly work their way up to 4.5% by the end of the year, that will take some steam out of it. It will maybe take a 10% year to a 6% year as far as appreciation, but it won't be enough to cause a crash because that kind of slow movement will actually pull in demand, interestingly enough, because people want to buy now versus buy later because rates are going up. And it won't create enough no answers to really to cause a crash. And then the last thing that could cause a crash, if for some reason the American consumers were afraid of everything. And you would have thought the last year or so, the Americans would be afraid of everything, but they were afraid of everything except housing because space is good. I want a garage for my stuff. I want a backyard for my kids and dogs. Yep. So I don't see that changing. I don't see the American consumer getting scared, especially with what we talked about 10 minutes ago. The American consumer is about to go, damn, it's a freaking party. Let's go. Right? So those are the only things that could cause a crash. Could we have a slowdown in appreciation? Yes. Could it go negative? I doubt it. If it went negative 1 or 2%, would that be a crash? No. And again, I'm not talking about 22 or 23 or 24. I'm just realize where we are today. We have a Fed that says rates are going to stay low as long as we can naturally do it. I think they can do it this year. We have no supply. We may have some more, but not enough. And we have those millennials, which I think are underappreciated and market moving. I think they are going to continue to enter the market. They're going to come out of Class A apartments and become homeowners. And I would not bet against the millennials. I think they are going to surprise us for the next 2 or 3 decades.
So good, Michael. Thank you. So the last thing I want to just talk about, and you and I talked about off camera before we started rolling, is something I think too that inherently we're both really good at, and that's taking action, taking massive action. Talk to me. Give me your thoughts. You queued that up a little bit. We didn't elaborate. Give me some of your thoughts about taking action and the opportunity.
Yeah, I think massive action is the key. Really, for me, my courses, you've seen step 1, step 2. One is focus, right? Take your lens of possibilities down to like a magnifying glass. I'm going to focus on that thing. And then you hit it every day, right? That's something, if I were to say my superpower, it's okay. I can get focused on something and then I can repeat, and every day is fun. I've been doing the daily financial news as an example every day for greater than 2 years. Even on bad days, I still find a way to get them done, right? And that's how, and that's how I can tell you I've looked at my market every day for 20 years, right? I think I've missed 20, 25 days in 20 years. And that's just what it takes. And the beauty is the more you do it in a row, it it's almost like a logarithmic curve where it just gets so much easier and you can wring so much more value out of it. That's the key. I truly believe the people that follow what I talk about here and in my course save time, right? Some people spend 4 or 5 hours a week. And I'm like, dude, all I want is 2.5 hours, 20 minutes a day. And then you're done. Go do something else. Go enjoy life. Go for a walk with your family. Read a book to your kids. Exercise, for heaven's sakes. Don't spend 2 hours a day hitting 5 different markets and 3 different types because you're going nowhere. Take focused and massive and repetitive action.
Boom.
Yes.
I love it, Michael. Thank you so much. Thank you for all you do. By the way, if for some of you, if you don't know the book, right? One Rental at a Time, you can find it on Amazon. The book is absolutely awesome. I know that you had shipped me some to give to the Squad Up family. So for those of you that are part of Squad Up that I think it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, you sent me your address. They were shipped, I believe, on Monday or Tuesday. So you should be receiving your book. Also, I have a handful left over. So if you're watching this and you have not bought the book, 2 things I want you to do. I want you to go to squad-up.com, squad-up.com, and then just go ahead and opt in, number 1. Number 2 is I'd like you to go and subscribe to Michael's channel, his YouTube channel. You'll be doing yourself a huge favor. The YouTube channel is awesome. It's got great content, financial news. I don't even watch regular news anymore because I just listen to Michael's 10-minute, 12-minute summary, and I know what's going on in the financial world. So do yourself a favor, follow Michael on YouTube at One Rental at a Time. He's also on Instagram, Facebook, same handle. And then also too, if you want the book, opt into squadup.com, subscribe to Michael's channel, One Rental at a Time, and then just reply back to the email and give me your mailing address and I'll go ahead and be sure to ship you out a book. So thank you so much, Michael. You're always very generous with your time, very generous with the books. Thank you for that. Thank you for all you do for our audience. Thank you so much.
You got it. Take care.